There is a war, and it's not out there. It's inside you, between who you are and who you could become, between the habits that enslave you and the discipline that will set you free. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." This is not motivation. This is a reckoning. If you don't conquer yourself, you will be conquered forever. There is a silence in every man, a silence that waits to be broken by truth. Not comfort, not approval, not distraction. Truth. And the truth is this: you are your own greatest obstacle, not the economy, not your upbringing, not your boss, your parents, or your circumstances. The enemy lives in the mirror, and if you do not conquer yourself, you will spend the rest of your life being conquered by everything else. You'll be ruled by your fears. You'll obey your doubts. You'll take orders from your excuses. You'll be a servant to your own weakness. That is not a life. That is a prison sentence served in daylight. Nietzsche once said, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." And make no mistake, the world is filled with masters looking for slaves, not with chains, but with distractions, debts, and dopamine. They don't need to force you. They just need to keep you entertained enough to never wake up. But something inside you knows the truth. You weren't made for sedation. You were made for domination, not over others, but over yourself, over your mind, over your habits, over your destiny. Because you are not born great. You are born raw. You are born incomplete. You are born with chaos inside you and the responsibility to master it. That's what Nietzsche meant when he said, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." The star is your potential. The chaos is your fuel. But only if you dare to confront it. Only if you stop waiting for the world to hand you direction and start forging your purpose in the furnace of struggle. Because that's the truth nobody wants to say. You have to bleed for the life you want. Not once, not briefly, but over and over, until weakness becomes memory. Lincoln bled. He failed in business. He failed in love. He failed in politics. But each time, he stood back up, not because the world gave him a reason, but because he gave himself a command. Conquer the inner coward, or be conquered forever. You know what comfort does? It tells you you're fine where you are. It whispers, you don't need to change. You deserve a break. But here's the ugly truth. Comfort is a beautiful poison. It tastes sweet and kills slow. Greatness does not visit the man in the hammock. It visits the man who rises early, who walks into resistance like it's a sacred duty, who says no to momentary pleasure so he can say yes to permanent growth. You think Thomas Edison didn't suffer? 10,000 failed experiments, mocked, doubted, dismissed, but he didn't wait for belief. He commanded himself forward, failure after failure, until the world finally had to name him a genius. Do you know what that is? That's discipline. That's faith without applause. That's what it means to conquer yourself. Because if you wait to feel motivated, you're already lost. You will never build an empire by checking how you feel every morning. You rise because it's time to rise. You grind because that's what warriors do. You show up because you've made a vow to never be a slave again. Not to your cravings, not to your laziness, not to your story. You can rewrite the whole thing if you've got the courage to pick up the pen. And yes, it's going to hurt. You'll question your sanity. You'll lose people. You'll bury old parts of yourself that scream to be kept alive. But you weren't born to carry the past. You were born to burn it and rise from the ashes as something the old you could never even imagine. There is no arrival. There is no final destination. There is only the forge and the decision to keep walking through fire until your shadow bows to your soul. Because here's the secret they don't teach in school. Resilience is not gifted. It is earned. It's what you build when you stop negotiating with your lower self. It's forged in the gym at 5 a.m. when nobody is watching. It's carved in the hours spent mastering your craft while others scroll. It's born in the nights you fight your own mind and still choose growth. Do you know why so few succeed? Because they think success is found. But success is a confrontation, a war between the part of you that wants comfort and the part that craves freedom. And only one of them can win. This isn't about goals. This isn't about money, fame, or applause. This is about liberation, freedom from self-betrayal, freedom from mediocrity, freedom from being a watered-down version of the giant you were born to become. But first you must learn to sit in the fire. Nietzsche said, one must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. He also said, become who you are, not who the world told you to be, not who your insecurity sculpted, who you are beneath the lies, beneath the fear, beneath the mask. And that kind of transformation, it's not polite, it's not easy, it is violent in the best way possible. You will have to kill who you were over and over again, and in the ashes, you'll find fragments of the person you're meant to be, not gifted, not lucky, but earned through the suffering you refuse to waste. Let them laugh, let them doubt, let them whisper behind your back that you've changed, because if you are truly evolving, you will offend the stagnant. You see, when you rise, you expose their refusal to rise. When you speak with fire, you ignite the guilt in their silence. And when you pursue greatness with ruthless conviction, you shine a blinding light on the mediocrity they've made peace with. This is the price of transformation. You will lose the herd. You will lose your comfort. You will lose your excuses. But in return, you will gain yourself, not the surface-level version, not the smiling mask you wear in rooms that don't deserve you, not the diluted soul you dress up to appease others. You will gain the you that is feral, focused, and free. The you that was never afraid to walk alone. The you that would rather be hated for the truth than loved for the lie. That's what self-mastery demands. Loneliness, precision, obsession. It's not popular, and it will not post well on social media, but it will give you something no one else can. Power, not power over others, power over your own damn life. When Nietzsche spoke of the Übermensch, the overman, he wasn't pointing to a superhero. He was challenging you to become the one who no longer needs validation, who no longer bows to weakness, who no longer looks outward for strength. Because the Übermensch is not a fantasy. It is a standard, a command, a path, a ruthless commitment to transcend your former self and build meaning in a meaningless world. You're not here to be a cog. You're not here to repeat. You are here to create, to build something no one's ever seen. A life that reflects the fiercest, most disciplined version of you. And to do that, you must stop negotiating with the parts of you that want to stay small. You don't need more motivation. You need a vow to yourself that you will not die with your potential buried, a vow that you will rise while others sleep, that you will suffer with purpose, that you will sacrifice the now for the power of what could be. This is how giants are made. There will be days you don't believe. There will be mornings when you feel like a fraud, when the mirror reflects a man still haunted by his old fears. Don't run from that. Look closer. That man is not your weakness. He is your reminder. He is the ghost of who you used to be, the proof that transformation is working. The old you will not die quietly. He will fight. He will whisper. He will beg you to come back. But every time you say no, every time you lift the weight, finish the task, sharpen the edge of your soul, you are burying him deeper beneath the footsteps of your purpose. And one day, when you no longer flinch, when you no longer hesitate, when every cell in your body responds to difficulty with discipline, you will understand. You have conquered yourself. That is the moment. Everything changes. Not when the money comes, not when the applause arrives, not when the world sees it, but when you know in your bones that you are no longer a slave to yourself, that you are the architect, the fire, the force. Every empire begins with one man who refused to kneel. Every revolution begins with one soul who said enough. And every transformation begins with one moment, one decision to never retreat into comfort again. So what will it be for you? Will you keep dancing for likes while your destiny burns behind your back? Will you keep numbing your ambition with junk food, quick thrills, and shallow praise? Or will you rise like the warrior you were meant to be? Because whether you choose to fight or not, the war has already begun. Every day your mind is attacked, your will is tested, your soul is measured. And if you don't show up armed with vision, discipline, and resolve, you will be overrun by the noise of the world, distracted, depleted, devoured. But if you do, if you plant your feet and look the chaos in the eye and say, I was born for this, the universe will yield to your command. Not because it's easy, but because you've proven you're worthy of the challenge. You weren't made to be soft, you were made to be sharp. Not tame, but trained. Not safe, but sovereign. What is the cost of greatness? Comfort, innocence, approval, the old you. But what is the reward? Freedom, fire, a life of impact and power. You will become the one who sets the pace, the one others study, the one whose presence says without words, "I've paid the price, I've bled for this, I've earned the right to walk as a king." This is what Nietzsche meant when he said, "The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly." Let them call you arrogant. Let them mock your standards. Let them misunderstand your solitude. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be undeniable. And to be undeniable, you must first be unshakable. And to be unshakable, you must do the hardest thing a human can do. Master yourself. The voice that says sleep in. The hand that reaches for comfort. The ego that fears rejection. Conquer them all. Crush them beneath the weight of your discipline, until your mind becomes a weapon and your will becomes law. And when the world asks, "What makes you different?" you will answer without hesitation, "I do not follow. I do not flinch. I do not fall back. I conquered myself. And that is why I can never be conquered again." And once you have conquered yourself, truly mastered the chaos within, you will begin to see the world as it is, not as a prison, not as a competition, but as a mirror, reflecting back exactly what you've trained yourself to seek. The weak only see obstacles, but the disciplined, they see opportunity. The victim hears noise, but the warrior hears clarity. The average see risk, but the Übermensch sees destiny. Because here is the truth, they will never teach you in school. You were not born for safety, you were born for sovereignty. But the road to that sovereignty, it is paved in blood, your own, sweat your own, tears your own. No one's coming to save you. No mentor, no guru, no trend, no hack. The real revolution happens in silence, when you face the dark corners of yourself that no one claps for, and grind them into diamond under your own weight. And in that lonely war, you will be asked a single question again and again. Will you submit? Will you submit to your doubts, to your failures, to your excuses? Or will you rise again, and again, and again, until even your enemies start to whisper, "He cannot be broken"? That's how legacies are born. Not through privilege, not through luck, but through an unbreakable refusal to quit when everything inside you screams surrender. Nietzsche understood this. He didn't write for the faint-hearted. He didn't dress truth up in flowers. He wrote with fire, for those ready to burn. He said, "One must still have chaos in oneself, to be able to give birth to a dancing star." That chaos inside you, it's not your enemy, it's your forge. It's where strength is created and forged into vision. You think clarity comes from comfort? No, clarity comes from confrontation. You meet your truth, not in peaceful moments, but in war. When your lungs burn, your back aches, and your mind whispers, no one would blame you for quitting. But you don't quit, because you are not here to be reasonable. You are here to be relentless. Conquer the voice that says, "You're not ready. You're not supposed to be ready. You're supposed to rise despite." Conquer the voice that says, "What if I fail?" You will fail, and then you'll rise with more knowledge, more force, more fire. Conquer the voice that says, "This is good enough." Good enough is the language of regret. You are not here for good. You are here for greatness. And greatness is earned in the trenches of the mundane, in the unseen moments, in the early wake-ups, the cold showers, the missed parties, the rewrites, the rejections, the repetitions. While others scroll, you build. While others gossip, you study. While others rest, you rise. That is the path of the master. That is the price of your throne. And understand this, when you choose discipline over distraction, when you build routines instead of chasing motivation, when you stop looking for shortcut and become the long road itself, you will scare people. You will remind them of everything they abandoned. You will expose their laziness, their fear, their compromise. Let them be uncomfortable. You are not a mirror for their insecurity. You are a beacon of what's possible. And so I ask you, not as a speaker, but as a brother in the storm, will you become the ruler of your mind or the victim of your moods? Will you build a life of meaning or chase one of comfort? Will you bow to the chaos inside you or bend it into brilliance? Because here is the final truth. You will be ruled by something, by your habits or your hunger, by your weakness or your will, by your fears or your vision. But you get to choose. You can be conquered by emotion or command it like a general. You can be broken by pressure or use it as fuel. You can die as a passenger or rise as the pilot of your own damn soul. But you must decide. Today, now, no more waiting, no more false starts, no more apologies for wanting more. This is your call to war. War on comfort, war on distraction, war on the parts of you that want to stay safe and invisible. You are not invisible. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are becoming something few will understand, a self-made force of nature. And one day, not far from now, when the world sees what you've built, the life, the impact, the unshakable presence, they will ask, how did you do it? And you will look them in the eye and say, I conquered the only enemy that ever mattered. To conquer myself. There is no one left to blame. No enemy outside stronger than the one inside. No lie more dangerous than the one you whisper to yourself when no one's listening. You are the gatekeeper. You are the wall and the weapon, the architect and the demolition crew, the flame and the fuel. And somewhere deep within you, beneath the doubt, the distraction, the distortion, there is a fire, a wild, unapologetic hunger to become something more. That fire is not a fantasy. It's not a childhood dream. It's not foolish or unrealistic or naive. It is the realest part of you, because it remembers what the world tried to make you forget, that you were born with power, that you were built for greatness, that mediocrity is not your birthright, but rebellion against who you truly are. And if you listen, even now, you'll hear it whispering, in every late night of work, in every lonely rep at the gym, in every moment you rise when others sleep. Don't stop, don't settle, don't shrink, rise, because the pain you feel today, that's the cost of building a soul strong enough to carry a destiny. The silence you endure, that's the space where real vision is born. The rejection you face, that's the proof you're no longer living by the world's approval, but by your own inner law. This is the path, and it was never meant to be easy, but it was always meant to be yours. Nietzsche wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how, so find your why." Not the surface level answers, not the pretty, packaged affirmations, but the one that makes your spine straighten and your fists clench, the one that makes you willing to bleed for a vision the world can't yet see. And once you've found it, never let it go. That why is your compass, your armor, your North Star when storms hit, your sword when you face the dragons of doubt and delay. Because here's the truth, most never dare to say out loud, the world does not need more people who are merely good. It needs more people who are on fire with purpose, on fire with presence, on fire with the kind of discipline that makes fate move out of your way. It needs you, not half alive, not getting by, not blending in, but unapologetically alive, clear, driven, focused, and sovereign. So let the old version of you die. Let it be buried with the excuses, the compromises, the lies, and rise, not as someone who hopes to be powerful, but as someone who remembers they always were. Conquer yourself, not just once, but every single day. In every decision, every discipline, every silence, every sacrifice, until self-mastery is no longer a goal. It is simply who you are. Because in the end, there will only be two stories. The story of the man who lived at the mercy of his moods, his fears, and his distractions, or the story of the one who rose above them all. So which one will you write? The world is waiting, but more importantly, you are. Now go, build, become, and never forget. Conquer yourself, or be conquered forever.